joining this training. This is our first training session we are hosting on the new platform. Just so everybody knows, we are going to be hosting trainings throughout the next few months as everybody's starting to kind of go through their whole migration process, whether that's going to be self-migration, which I know a lot of you are doing, or kind of going through our turnkey solution. So we're going to be hosting this. We're going to be hosting a training session about twice a month. One's going to be going over the basics, kind of as we are going over today. And then the next one's going to get a little bit more in depth from more advanced users who want to learn a little bit more about how can they take advantage of the platform a little bit more. So let's kick things off. Oh, yes, Rebecca, thank you for bringing that up. Let's start the recording. Ralph, would you be able to start that? Or maybe it's already recording. I think we're good. Okay. Thanks, Rebecca, for just bringing that up. So let's go ahead and get started. So for those of you who do not know, my name is Vincent Salgado. I am the lead developer here for the new platform that we've created for all states agencies to be able to take advantage of. It's also known as the agency platform too. It's built on Drupal 9. So I will be kind of going through this. If you guys have any questions about any of this as you go through your process of taking your site from your old D7 website to your new D9, please feel free to reach out and I can answer any questions that you have that you will need to go over. What we're going to be doing today is going to be doing a lot of hands-on training. So what we're going to do is that I'm going to take you through what's new about the website. I'm going to have you log into our training website and you're going to be able to kind of manage and add content. And we'll go over that more in depth here in a second. But other than that, I do want to introduce my team who's helped me along with this project. First, I just want to kick it off to Ralph. If you could introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Ralph, part of the dev team. Hi.
That's Ralph, man. A few words. And then also we have Will. Will, you there?
Yeah, it looks like my mic came unplugged. My name is Will Sizemore. I'm the BA on the agency platform project. So if you have requirements that need to get documented, detailed out, I'm the point of contact for that.
Yeah, so if you're not hearing from me, you're probably hearing from one of those two, just as we're going through this migration process. I know Ralph has sent out kind of questionnaire for everybody to fill out to let us know what direction you're going. Will is going to be kind of there for anybody who's doing the paid migration to be able to kind of help you go through your business requirements, what's needed, and then kind of schedule out for a time and when exactly that's going to happen. But that's aside from all of this. Right now, let's just kind of get down into this training itself. So I'm going to send off a link here to everybody. This is going to be the training website that we're going to be working on. So I'm just going to switch tabs here. Okay, can everybody see this website? I'm going to shoot off the link here in the chat itself.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, so this website is going to be kind of just the base kind of delivery of what we give for when we have demo content in the website. Now, some of you have already had their container spun up. You already may see this as kind of what you're familiar with. We're seeing it has all the demo content in there. We'll have all the landing pages, the About Us sections, the leadership services, news, events, meetings, resources, to contact us. This just kind of gives you an idea of what kind of comes out of the box and the different types of things that you'll be able to take advantage of. Like you'll be able to create news, you'll be able to create events, as well as resources and other content types. Now, you can kind of click around here, take a look at what's there if you haven't already seen this. But we're going to kind of go over a little bit about how we go about creating or building upon maybe the site that you were given with demo content, or even if you didn't have the demo content installed for your website. A lot of these pages are still there for you to take advantage of, to be able to kind of add these content that we're going to go over. So as we are doing that, let's take a look here. I'm going to shoot off another link to you guys. I'm going to have you log into the website. So I'm going to give you this. And here are the login info that you need. So the username is going to be training user, capital T, capital U. And then the password is password with a capital P, 1234. So if everybody could just log into the website, I will do the same as well. Okay. Once you log in, you'll see that you're a member for 28 seconds. It's just kind of the last time you logged into the website. But once everybody kind of gets here, just kind of let me know. We've got to get going from here.
Logged in.
Wow. All right. Let's give you guys a couple more seconds. All right. So once you log in, one of the first things you'll notice is going to be different from the way that maybe D7 how it worked was before in Drupal 7, you noticed the admin bar that went across the top. It was a black bar that was up above, and you knew you were kind of logged in. What's going to be different, we have a different style for D9. So you'll notice that the admin bar has now moved over to the left side. This kind of makes it easier to kind of see your page full from top to bottom without having the interference of the admin bar at the top. So, but you'll notice that it's a lot more trimmed down, streamlined. And if you take a look here, as you hover over the different menu items here, you have your tools, you have your content, and you have your structure. There's also a configuration that you might notice when you log in. For most people, you won't be able to do anything in here. We actually try to kind of get rid of displaying this, but for some reason it still does for a basic content creator or a content editor. And just so that some of you know, the permissions on this particular user that we're using today is just a content editor. I know this is going to be true for most people, but I know that some of you have admin rights to your websites that you guys are currently doing the self-migration. So you're seeing a little bit less than what you're probably used to seeing. But right now, whatever we're doing today, you're going to be able to do with your site administrator access with no problem. But right now, we're going to try to keep it focused and just keep it for the content editors, which most people are going to be kind of going through and training with. So taking a look at this admin bar, one thing you might notice that could be helpful, if you kind of forget what each of these things are, instead of kind of hovering over to figure out where exactly you're going, you can click this little arrow here at the bottom. So if you click that, it kind of just has this thing fly out so you can actually see what each of those buttons are without having to hover over it. So once you do that and you want to go over to content, I want you guys to navigate to content and then overview right here. This is going to be kind of one of the main places that you're going to be living at when you're working on your website. What this does is that this shows you all the different content that's been created on your website. So if you ever created something and you kind of lose track of exactly where it was because maybe you didn't link it off correctly while you were doing something, you can always find it in the content section itself. So as a content editor, you'll obviously have the ability to either edit it, delete it, or do other things with the various pages. So you can, if you have a bunch of content on the website, which a lot of us do, and you kind of lose track of, maybe you want to take a look at some older pages, but you forgot what they were, or they're just so far down the list that you kind of need to quickly look for it. You can always search by title up here at the top. You can search by content type. So if you're only looking for your news and press release, you can just click on that, and you want to see just all your news that has been uploaded to the website. You could also filter it down to other things as well. So and then also you can see what has been published or what is even unpublished that's on your website to maybe just clear things out. So if you go to just the unpublished here, I'll filter it. We have just one thing that's here that's unpublished, and maybe we don't need it. I can go ahead and delete that if I wanted to at this point. So this is just a global alert thing. Don't worry about this one in particular, but just so you know, you can kind of just go and do that as well. At the top of this page, you'll also notice media. So as a content editor, you'll have the ability to kind of go in and edit media that's on your website. So if you notice that people are uploading the same image or the same file, 10 different times, and you kind of want to start cleaning things up and start getting rid of stuff, you'll be able to kind of go in here to go take a look at all the different types of media you have in here, whether that's audio files, documents, and whatnot. You can go ahead and click filter and just look at all the documents that are on your website and kind of just play around with it from there. I'm going to go to Hari's question. Does it only show for logged in users or all users who are made any changes to that page? So this content, this is for all content. Because you're a content editor, you're able to see all the content that everybody has created. So it's not just yours. If you had other users, maybe interns that are working on the website, and you say, I don't want them to be able to just edit or delete anything. I want them to just focus on the stuff that they're doing. We do have a role for that. So they'll be able to see everybody's content, but they'll only be able to kind of edit, delete the ones that they are specifically working on. Hari, I don't know if that answers your question or not. Yes. Okay. So just know that the overview page is kind of, like I said, it's going to be where you're kind of your go-to place that you're kind of navigating your content. Next, under content, we have this add content page. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So for adding content, you'll have the option to choose different types of content that you're going to be creating over and over again. So we want to make it kind of streamlined, easy enough that if you're able to kind of go log into Facebook to add content or to add stuff on Facebook, or if you want to argue with one of your family members about politics, if you can do that, you can add content on here. It won't be, it's easy enough and intuitive enough to kind of go in and add what you need to add for your websites. So we've kind of started off with these particular content types. Our goal is to obviously add more as time goes on and we get feedback from you guys. So if you guys are looking to say, you know what, our content type that I think would be useful for not only your agency, but also all agencies across the state, let us know, and we can take that consideration and probably add that kind of content type. So you will be able to take advantage of it as well as other agencies, So, but as we kind of went over at the beginning with taking a look at all the demo content, we have things like events. You'll be able to add events. You'll have things like to be able to add in board meetings that you may have for your agency, any news that you want to share with people, resources, which would be like documents, whether it's policies or agendas or anything like that you need to share with people. You'll have the ability to do that, and as well as kind of share your leadership. One thing that I do want you to take a note at, and we won't go over it in detail, but it's something to start thinking about, is that we're going to start collecting. We want our agencies to start putting down the services that their agency provides. So whether that is maybe licenses that people can go and buy with your particular website, or services that you provide for citizens, for employees, we want you to start listing those services out with this service content type. This actually will allow us to kind of just pull in up-to-date services for the entire state, and then be able to kind of, so people can actually go and know where they're going, because one of the biggest problems is, one, having an updated list of all the services that are provided by the state, and then two, kind of a go-to place that people can actually find these services and discover a little bit more about them. So just something to take a note at, but we won't be going over that too much detail today. But I do want to kind of start going through what you can do as far as creating these content types. So one of the big ones that I know that people are going to use is going to be the resource. And actually, before I continue on, does anybody have any questions so far about any of this? Okay. So the first kind of content we want to create is going to be the resource. So this is going to be something that obviously you create over and over again, all the policies that your agency may have. So this would apply to other things like events or meetings, because it's something that they're pretty much going to be the same format. We just want to keep putting out those events. We want to keep putting out those meetings, and it will kind of collect, and we display them out of the box for you guys in a nice visual way. So today we're just going to be focusing on just resource. So I'm going to click resource here, and we're going to add something. So I'm going to add test document. I'm going to say it is a policy, and I'm going to go down here. So you'll notice that you have a resource where you'll be able to either upload a link, or you'll be able to add a document itself, whether that's a PDF or any other documents that you will need to share. So for this one in particular, I'm going to add in a document. So as you can see here, when I choose to add a document, you'll notice that you'll be able to see the document library. Some of you may already be familiar with this when it comes to D7. It's very similar. They've kind of just made it look a little bit nicer and cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and upload my own file here. So I'm going to click Cactus PDF. So I'm going to have in here. I'm going to upload this. I'm going to save it. And now it's added to the library for me to take advantage of. So now I have it selected. I'm going to insert this for this content type. And then I'm going to add in a description here. So this is a document of a cool. And then you'll notice, so off here to the right, you can add in log messages. If you ever change anything, I would definitely recommend that you go into the revision log messages and write something in there what you changed. Because if you are working on something and you're changing something that somebody else worked on, and they come back and notice a change, it's good for them to at least go through those log messages to see exactly what was changed. Other things you'll see in here, the menu settings, URL alias, kind of just leave those blank for things like resources or events. You don't need to add this one specifically onto a main menu. That's going to be more reserved for basic pages, landing pages that we'll create, and we'll do that here in a bit. So leave those as is, and I'm just going to go ahead and click save. And it kind of just gives me just the small details of everything I uploaded here. So here's the test document, here's my description, what the type was, and here's my actual document itself. So if I go ahead and go over and click on resources, you will notice, I'm sorry, I'm going to minimize this right here. You'll notice that it has been added right here in our resources page. So again, out of the box, these things are available for you to take advantage of. You can start building these things out, have your resource documents. And then I definitely would recommend sticking with this type of format, because as we start to improve upon things, whether that's this particular view, these content types, you'll be able to kind of take advantage of those as well. And it will improve upon your site as things go on. But does anybody have any questions, at least about these resources?
So, I'm sorry. I put up a lot of forms. So basically my forms list is now going to just become this long list.
So when you say forms, are we talking about just like documents that you want to upload for people to take advantage of?
Correct.
Yeah. So I think the best place probably would be able to put it here. As you can see, the one thing I forgot to note here is with this test document, if I click on this more info, it drops down and kind of does a little bit more of a description itself. So this, you'll be able to kind of search for what the document types are, any keywords that are found within the description, and also just you can search by the title itself. Now, if you have just physical forms, or not physical, but like digital, whether it's PDF, Word documents, or whatever it is that you're sharing, obviously this would be the best place to do that at. But if you're talking about starting to convert forms into web forms, that's going to be something that we could talk about at a different training. But web forms obviously is a whole nother beast that would be its
No,
own.
I just want to do PDFs.
Yeah.
So
So that's be the way to go about doing it. Alex, yes. So we can categorize these using taxonomy. So the taxonomy that we have associated with these ones in particular are the document types. Now, if these particular document types don't work for you, you need to add in something else. That's something that we can talk about and then go over with you.
and then we can still do links just directly to things, right? Like we can
Yes.
just do it in text link. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll show you just one more, just showing also the showing here. So website link. I will call this one. Let's just say it's a regulation that's captured on a different website that we want to share. For this one in particular, I'm just going to put Google on here. I'm not going to put a description this time. I'm going to go ahead and click save. So when I go back to resources, I have a website link. It doesn't have the more info because I didn't put any additional information on there. But if I go ahead and click on that, it's going to take me to Google of what I put on there. So obviously the test document will take me to the document that I uploaded, but that kind of gives you an idea that you can choose one or the other. Okay. So Marjorie, to get to your comment, what I'm going to have everybody do is that we're going to do our first task, which is going to be adding a resource onto that resource page. So if you just take a look here, actually I need to share this tab instead. So here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to give you guys about 5 to 10 minutes to kind of start adding in your own resource. You could do one, you could do two, but here are the steps that you should take. So first, you're going to add the content. You're going to create a resource. You're going to go to add content and then create a resource. The title can be whatever you want. You can choose whatever document type that you would like. And then you can add a PDF or a website link, kind of just how we showed, and then add a description and then click save. If anybody has any questions, use the little hand raiser thing on Google Meets. So I'll give everybody about 5 minutes. Like I said, I'll give a little extra time in case you need it. And then we will see who the first person is that uploaded it. doing these type of trainings in person, obviously, it's always a lot more helpful if I go around and help people as they're kind of going through. Also, it's not as quiet. I feel like I need to play music for everybody. Okay, see the first few have already been added in there. Alex, yeah, I think out of the box, I think we're trying to stick with just PDFs. However, we can always update that for your particular website in case you need to share Excel files or anything like that. We try to encourage people to convert anything that they can into PDFs. They are just more accessible for everybody. But yeah, we'll be able to kind of just choose what particular what kind of files that you'll be able to upload on there. Okay. So do I. I like that limitation as well. Who was nurses as their first as a resource? Rebecca, good job, Rebecca. You're the first one. If I had prizes to give out, you would get that prize. All right, see a few more coming in. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. Does anybody need a little bit extra time? Laura, yeah, for the description itself, because of the way that it's formatted, having that description then in there, the screen readers will definitely be able to kind of pick up on that to be able to kind of go down and just know what those, be able to kind of read back to those people. So yeah, that's helpful for it. So the document itself, when people click on it, there's not so much in alt text as there is with images when you're uploaded onto the website. But at least over here, the description obviously makes it a lot easier, so people just don't see a document that's just called document.pdf, and then they have no idea what that document is. This will just allow people to kind of just read more into it. So the more descriptive we can be, obviously, the more helpful it will be for people who are visually impaired and need those screen readers. Alrighty. So I will go back to the website. Share this. Okay. And I'm going to go to resources. So as you can see here, some of them are already showing on here. It looks like there is a limitation on the, that's something it's good to know. That's something we need to fix, but we'll add in. So it's not just showing the first 5 here. We'll have it so it shows like the first 20, and then there'll be a pager that goes along with it. So I apologize that's not in there, but that's something that we will fix. So just kind of clicking on here. So one Alex did, if I click on that, you're allowed to have in the more resources, and then you just go ahead and click. For this one in particular, let's see, I click on that, take me to a separate page. So yeah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of getting the hang of this. Does anybody have any questions on this particular task about just adding resources in there? All right. So we will go ahead and move along here. So taking a look here, I'm going to go to the overview. Obviously, we see all of the resources that people have entered in here. So after you do that, obviously you can go back into the resources to be able to kind of either edit them and work on them yourselves, delete them out as needed. Just know that when you do delete, let's say a resource, if we were to delete this lorem ipsum one, if there was a document attached to it, just because I delete this does not mean the document is deleted itself. So if you need to do both, just remember you can delete the content type or remove it from the list, but then always go into media, find that document, and you can delete it there as well in case you need to get rid of it. So just note that. So I will go ahead and continue on here. Marla, yes, the resources are only limited to one attachment. I do think that there's a big, what is it called? Like a limitation as far as the size that you can put in there. So if you did have something, I mean, we try to compress it down into one document. But I think in the case that you do need multiple attachments, that's something that would definitely take note of. And if we start to hear that more from other agencies, then that's probably something we can also do, is to add in multiple documents. There is no limit, Laura. So if you wanted all of them to show and you had 100, obviously they would show all 100. We try to limit it, so just as far as like page loading, so there's no issues there, to no more than like 20 to 25. Right now, at least for this particular one, it's only displaying the first 5. But what it should be doing is displaying the first about 20, and then it has a pager at the bottom, so you can go to the next page to see those documents as well. But again, you can always filter it out if you're searching for certain things. So I am going to just put this in. Let's say we want to take a look at just all the trainings. I'm going to apply it, and it shows all the trainings that were uploaded onto the resources.
Okay, I'm just not seeing my document on this list anymore. So
yeah, and yeah, that's because right now it's not set up correctly, which is I'm just noticing that now.
Okay.
It should be multiple ones in there. Obviously, you should be showing a lot more, and then it should have pagers so you can kind of go through to see it.
Hey, Vincent, I just want to say I think that view is only set to show 5. So
Yeah.
it's just it's a simple view change.
Yeah.
okay, and then I changed the name of my document and to take out the underscores, and that didn't show up. So
All right. Looks like more are shown. I think Ralph probably went in there and changed it. Thank you, Ralph. Okay. So kind of moving forward. So that it works similarly with the events, with leadership. If I were to go ahead and create an event, if I go to the event page itself, it will add it on to this particular list. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit more things that you'll be able to add in there for events. You'll be able to add in a picture that goes along with the event. It will add it onto this list. And then when I click on the event, it creates this event page. So you'll be able to kind of take advantage of, you'll have the times in there that you upload. You can add it to your calendars, or your users will be able to add it to their own personal calendars, whether that's Google, Outlook, or whatever it is that they use. And then you'll have the description here of all the upcoming events. If there are certain documents that need to go along with those events, you'll be able to add it there as well. But if you can create a resource, you'll be able to create the events as well. Just a little bit more things that you'll need to add in there. So, but before we get to any of that, I want to show you the basic page. So for the most part, I'm going to go to basic page here. this is kind of where people are going to be creating those static pages that are found throughout your website. So this is what the basic pages are, what's going to kind of create the structure of your website. So when we're talking about the various items that may be on the main navigation, it's going to be usually created with a basic page. So a basic page is going to be kind of the starting block for one, just regular static information that you want to share out with people. And you'll be able to kind of format that through the body. Or this could be the starting page for any more advanced landing pages that you want to create. And we'll kind of go over that in a bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a page. I'm going to add it onto the main navigation. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So I'm going to call this one full page. So, and in the body, I'm going to go here. So in case you guys are looking for a great lorem ipsum generator, you should use Cupcake Ipsum. It's my favorite one. So obviously in here, you'll be able to kind of just put in some test content so you can take a look at what it looks like. I'm going to do medium, 5 paragraphs, and generate it, and it generates out this lorem ipsum. I'm going to just take the first 3. That's what I do. If you're looking for other great lorem ipsum generators, another great one, but it's not for work, is Samuel L. Ipsum, which quotes Samuel L. Jackson from various movies that he has. So definitely not work appropriate, but it's a cool lorem ipsum if you want to take a look at it. So I am going to go back here to this page. I copy that ipsum here. I'm going to throw it in here. From here, I'm going to go and create. Again, I said I wanted to add it onto the main navigation. You want to do it through here. I know a lot of you probably have had, when you were working with menu systems, maybe in D7, you would go to the menu link, and you would go and you would add it in. Either just do add new link, and then you would link it off to the page itself. I would definitely recommend that you do it through here instead, because what this does is that now it creates a link to this particular page. So if I ever change anything, whether that's if I change the URL, the alias that goes along with it, or if I move it, change the name, whatever it is, it will automatically update without you having to kind of have to go back into that menu system and rework it, because sometimes it can break a little bit. So I would definitely say when you're building out that main navigation, do it through here, and do it through the menu settings and provide a menu link. Now, one thing that you'll notice here is that it'll have the menu link title, so you can change the title. It will default to whatever you name the page, and then you'll be able to add it into what parent menu you want to do. So if this particular basic page was being created and it needed to be under about, you would make the parent link about. But for this one in particular, I'm going to want it just as a main navigation item. So it's going to be on that top of every single page. I'm just going to click main navigation here. So everything else, I'm going to leave the same. You'll have the ability to change the URL aliases. However, I would definitely recommend just staying with what is that it generates automatically. Because if it goes back and you change the name of that, it will automatically change for you. And then if you put it under certain parent navigation, so if this was under about, it will automatically generate as about/cool page without you having to go back and remember, like, oh yeah, I need to change that URL alias. So again, it's just one of those things where if you do need to change it, you have the option to do it. However, I recommend for about 95% of the time, you just want to keep it as the default, that automatic alias. So, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to click save. Okay. So now I have this. It's just a basic page, not much to it. As you can see, it has the title in there. It has the breadcrumb. So again, if I were to put this under about us, I would have it. So it would be home/about us/cool page. So that kind of just builds automatically without you having to think about it. And as you can see here, I have it in the main navigation. So for this one, I'm just going to quickly just edit this menu because I'm just going to move it so it's just after the landing pages. So I'm going to take this, move it up. And as you can see here, I mean, changing around the main navigation is pretty easy. Just drag and drop. I'm going to click save, but we'll go, we can have another meeting where we kind of just go more in depth about how to really structure that main navigation best for, you know, your particular site. So as you can see here, after I edit that, the cool page is now just after landing page, and that's where I want it to be. And then on this page, you will notice this this tabs menu that's at the top. So right now we're in the view. This is what everybody sees that's public. So obviously this is what it kind of looks like. You have the ability to go back in and edit anything that you may need to do. And then obviously you can delete it. You can look at the various revisions. So again, if I created something, Ralph went in, wanted to change something, maybe he just, there's something that I was missing or there's a misspelling, he can, when he goes in and edits it, and then also just puts in his revision notes, what was going on, that's where you'll see kind of all the revision notes as people are kind to, you know, as you're collaborating with other people in your agency. But one thing I definitely want you guys to take note of is this layouts tab right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. What this layouts tab allows us to do is start adding in different components that we can find on the website. So whether when you see the kind of those cool things, whether the slideshows, you see the different cards that are being created throughout the website, this is kind of where you're going to go in order to add that on into your particular page. So right now for this training, we're going to kind of keep it simple. And I'm going to show you just quickly how we can add a slideshow at the very top of this particular page that I'm creating. So if I click on add block here, you'll see this menu that pops out from the right. You'll notice all these different things here on the right. You can ignore this for the most part. These are just, that will come in the more advanced training later on this month. We can kind of go over this in particular. But for the most part, what you're going to be doing is that you're most likely creating a block for that particular page. You just want it to appear there. And it's not going to be anywhere else. So for this one, I'm creating a slideshow, or I'm just going to create a single image slideshow. So it's going to look more like a banner, but I only want it to display here. I don't need it anywhere else. So this would be the best place of doing it. So I'm going to create a custom block. And then you'll have the different components here that you'll be able to create. Again, these are known as custom blocks. So you can create a banner, you can create slideshow, you can create just throw in an image somewhere, or have a homepage card versus a card set. Now, these are all just a little bit different from each other. And if you go hover over landing page and take a look at just the available components, that's what these blocks are. So you can kind of take a look at, oh, this is what it looks like. So if I create something, it'll most likely look like this. So for this one in particular, on this top, in this top region, because it spans the entire width of the page itself, it's a good block for a slideshow. So I'm going to go ahead and create that real quick. So it pops up this little configure thing for our custom block. It throws in a default title. You can just leave that as is. It's not going to display unless you absolutely need it to. Then obviously you can click display here. But for the most part, this title can be whatever it is that you want. So I'm going to add a slide here. So this allows me to upload an image. So I am going to choose an image here. And it brings up this image cropping ability, and also to add in a little bit more information. So for this one in particular, just remember that whenever you upload an image, make sure you put in a good descriptive alternative text. So what this allows for is that when somebody who is visually impaired and is using a screen reader and they are looking at images, so instead of the screen reader reading back to them, just being like, oh, this is image1.jpg, it will read the alternative text. So it actually describes what the image is for those people who are visually impaired. So it's always good to put something in here. Don't just put image in here, because that's what's going to read back to but that's what's going to read back to those people who are visually impaired. So here I'm going to do I'm just going to put a house with Spanish influence. By the way, this is what I want my house to look like eventually. If anybody knows any good architects and contractors, please let me know, because I need to start building out my house. So here you'll be able to kind of see the crop images here. So you'll be able to have a little cropping tool. Alex, to answer your question about optimal graphic size, we have we'll let you know as far as kind of what we have a kind of minimum set. We don't want people to kind of do too small of images that are just going to look very very pixelated. So we do have it bumped up to a certain amount where it should start looking good. But for the most part, as far as the sizes, you know, the height and width, we don't want people to worry too much about that, because you'll have the ability to kind of use these cropping images in here to kind of play around with. So as you can see here, we have various crops that you need to make. This is the reason why you have to make so many different types, is because of the fact that this image might be used in different places. You could use it for a card, you can use it for a slideshow, or you could use it for one of our other components. So you want to make sure that you crop them so it looks good no matter which component that you're using that image on. And once you do it for one image, it's set for everything, and you don't have to worry about doing that crop again. But I would say definitely take the time. It takes about less than a minute to just go ahead and crop each of these. And just note that when you're doing it, click on the image and then it says cropping applied. It doesn't actually apply until you actually click on it first. So for the slideshow, I want it to look something like that. For the banner crop, maybe I want it a little bit lower. And then for square cropping, I'm just going to keep it right here. So you can obviously go back in later and crop this differently in case once you take a look at it and you say, okay, I need it to be a little bit different. You go back into your media and then you can kind of recrop them as needed. Laura.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a question that was kind of answered, so sorry.
Okay. You just scroll down here. Now you'll see this little button that says show in media library. I think this was kind of an old idea that we had to make sure it shows, but it will show in the media library regardless. So you can either uncheck that or check it, whatever it is. I don't think it's not going to affect anything. So I'm going to save it. As you can see here, it's added to the library. I'm going to click on that. That's the one I want. I'm going to scroll down, see insert selected. And now it's added that to my first slide. Slide title, I'm going to say cool image, slide text. I want my house to look like this one day. Scroll down. I can add a link that will add a button to it, or I could just leave that blank and maybe I just want just the text to go along with it. So I'm going to leave it without any link text. But if you guys want to play around with that, throw in a link in there, add in the text, and then you kind of see what it looks like. I'm going to leave everything else the same. Again, I'm only doing one slide just for like kind of a banner effect. But if I want to add in more slides, I will click this button and it will drop down and have a whole new set of fields for me to fill out. Some more images that I can upload. So I am going to add the block here. So as you can see, the banner is now being created for this page. You might notice something though for certain images that you do. You might say, well, it's kind of hard to read the text. It's a little bit with that kind of white background. It's a little bit harder to read. How do I change that? So what you can do is that I'm going to go back in and I'm going to configure this particular image. So I'm going back to that block that I was just working on. And I'm going to scroll down here. I can add in an image overlay, so which makes the background of that text a little bit darker, or I can even change the color of the text to a black. So if it was a very white image and you just wanted the text to be black, you can do that as well. So I'm just going to put in the image overlay. I'm going to update it. Scroll back to the top. As you can see here, it's added now kind of an overlay so you can read the text a little bit better than it was before. So I'm just going to go ahead. That looks good. I wanted the banner in there. I'm going to go ahead, scroll to the top. It's going to, you save your layout. So I say, okay, that layout's good. I like that banner image. So now my page is created. I have my banner. I have my text here at the bottom. I'm good to go. That's all I needed for this particular page. So that goes on to our next task that we're going to do. So I'm going to share. So task 2. I'm going to have everybody create a basic page, and you're going to add in a banner, kind of just what we did. So you're going to add in your content. You're going to create a basic page, add your title, whatever title you want, put some lorem ipsum in the body, and then under the settings where we did the menu, you're going to add it to the main menu, but however, make sure it is the parent item is that cool page that I just created. So that would nest everything just below there. I don't want everybody adding to the main navigation, the top navigation, or else it's going to be huge and it's going to start looking bad. But once you do that, just click save and then go to your layout and then add in that slideshow block as I did. So I'm going to give everybody about, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, take some time. Give everybody about 10 minutes to kind of work on that. Does anybody have any questions? All right, sounds good.
Hi, Vincent, this is Laura. Did you want to tell people how to do the weights underneath some to get the page in the order that you want?
Not at the moment, no. Just add it
Okay.
on to that the parent item. Make sure it's just cool page, and it would just kind of just weight it on its own.
Thanks.
I'll put on some soothing music for everybody. So working.
But one thing I'm telling other managers
Ignore that
now
ad,
is
though.
to try Monday.com. Monday.com is a
If it's annoying, just let me know. I'll just put something on here so we're not sitting in silence. All right, looks like we got a few basic pages already started to be created. Looks like Alex was the first one. Good job, Alex. All right, you have about 3 minutes left. So we'll go ahead and start moving forward. Anyone have any trouble with the slideshow part? All right, Casey. Yes. So when you create, have you already created your page itself? Okay. So at the top, when you create it, you'll see the little tabs just right under the main navigation. You'll see that layout. If you click on layout, okay, so you're already in there. So in that top region that's there, click on add block. So when you click on that button, it'll pop up a navigation to the right, and you create, say where it says create custom block. So click on that button, and then you'll see the slideshow block. All right. No problem. All right, about a minute left. All right, and time. Just. All right. So let's go back. Let's take a look at the website. All right. It looks now it looks like I have a bunch of pages here under my cool page. So we'll take a look at just a couple of them. So we'll take a look at this first one, super cool page. It better be better than my page. All right. So we do have it here. It looks like you have in some good content in here. Looks like you played around a little bit with the body and able to, with the WYSIWYG, add a little bit of a second header here. So that's good. We are missing the slideshow here at the top, though. So I'm going to go for another one. Let's look at facts for you. One thing I do want to note, as you can see here, that as we create these pages, you'll notice that it's starting to automatically build in that sidebar navigation. So when you're creating a bunch of just static pages and you kind of want to work with the default itself, you'll have the ability where it just kind of will build out those things for you. Again, it's a good kind of reason to kind of keep those things as in you're using that menu system within the page itself, just so it keeps track of things. So if you ever were to move facts for you under About Us, it will go and slide in there without you having to worry about anything, just as long as you change it on that particular page. So whoever created the Facts for You page, looks like they took advantage of using the homepage slideshow. So in case you're wondering how they did that in particular, it means that when they went and clicked an add block, they probably scrolled down to that large list of different items, and you can click these the different slideshows that are at the bottom that are kind of more universal. And we'll go over a bit how do you make a certain block universal so you can use it on multiple pages. But right now, when you create that custom block, it will only show up on that particular page, and you can't really use it anywhere else. And for the most part, I mean, you might think like, what if I do want to use it somewhere else? I would say about like 80% of the time, those blocks that you create are only going to be on that page. So you don't have to worry too much about that. But if you do need to make universal something that's universal, so you can take advantage of it no matter what pages that you're spinning up, we'll go over that later on. But I'm going to go ahead and click on Hi Mom here too. Look at this one. So they also did the homepage slideshow. Has the stuff in there. Has the bacon Ipsum. I'm assuming that was Marlo. Yeah, so click here, the one that Laura was working on. She says Laura Test here. And she has a nice slideshow in here. She used some of the images that are already available. But as you can see here, she put the button. So when you put that link in and you have the button in there, that's what it looks like here. So good job, Laura. This looks great. So does anybody have any questions on creating this, on creating these pages and adding a simple slideshow or a banner or whatever it is at the top? All right.
I have a question on the slideshow.
Yes.
Do I have to have a button to make it clickable? Like, Can I make the whole image clickable?
As for right now, what is clickable is that button. We do want to get, when we do some improvements, we'll probably want to make it so the whole image, the slide itself is clickable. However, some people might not like that because maybe they're trying to just scroll through the image, but we definitely want to get some feedback from people what they think, because if they're trying to just click on the next slide but accidentally click on the image itself, it could take them somewhere that they don't want to go.
Right.
So just something to think about. But again, it's good feedback to provide to us, and the more we kind of hear things like that, the more we'll kind of implement those type of features. One thing you might notice that these slides are running pretty quickly. We're slowing them down. So, but right now they're kind of going by a little quickly. All right. So, does anybody have any questions before we move on to our last part? Okay. So, I'm going to go home here for a second. So, the fact that you're able to kind of create a resource, you're able to kind of create those events, those meetings, those news pretty simply. They're all very similar. Now that you're kind of getting used to creating these basic pages, this is going to be kind of your main thing that you're going to be able to do. Whether if you want to create landing pages and you're able to create custom blocks that go along with that, that's going to be the majority of your website. Those blocks themselves could be the custom ones that you create, or for those of you who know how to create views, you'll be able to add in views into those particular the layouts. So in our more advanced training, we'll go over more about kind of changing those layouts of how they work, and kind of knowing the different options and kind of adding some padding in there. We'll go over that more in detail in our next training. I definitely, if this is you guys' first time kind of working with Drupal and you're just kind of getting the hang of things, I would definitely say just go to that meeting as well. It's going to be a little bit more advanced, but it kind of builds off of what we're learning here today. But it allows you to have a little bit more flexibility of what you're building to add in to create your pages to look a little bit more unique and have a great look and feel with them, just with whatever's out of the box that we have here. So the last thing I want to do here is that I'm going to show you how to make that landing page. So you can go ahead and start messing around with how those pages look. So again, I'm going to go back in and create a basic page. Here, I'm going to call it the food. So I know it's lunchtime. I'm sure you guys are all hungry. I'm going to make you guys even more hungry than you are right now. I'm going to add this onto the main navigation. I'm going to click save. So right now you'll notice that I didn't put any body. That's because I didn't want to put anything, because this is going to be a landing page and I'm going to start configuring it exactly how I want. So I can utilize some of those other components that we were taking a look at. So the first thing I'm going to go in here is I'm going to go into layout. Because this is a landing page, maybe I don't necessarily want that title to be in there. So I'm going to just go ahead and remove this title. So if you guys ever remove something accidentally and you just realize like, oh, I need to put that back, you can always do that by just going to add block and then you finding the title under that huge list of things if this loads. If you take a look here, I think if I filter it, I can find it. There's the title. I can always add it back in there if I want to, in case you accidentally delete it. However, if you accidentally delete a custom block that you are creating, you might have to start all the way over because again, it didn't save it. So careful with what you are deleting. So I don't want a title in here, but I want to keep the I do still like that the breadcrumb. I'm going to keep that in there, but I'm going to add in a sorry, not a section. I'm going to add in a slideshow again here. So what page I'm kind of creating here is going to be a food page. It's going to be kind of like the landing page for all the food pages I'm going to have you guys create here in a second. It's going to be your favorite restaurant. So start thinking about what your favorite restaurant is. So I'm going to create a custom block. Again, I'm going down to slideshow. I'm just going to create a single slide. So I'm going to add media here. Love that cat picture, by the way. as you can see here, obviously I can see other images that other people have uploaded. So as you are working with other people at your agency, as they're uploading things, you'll be able to take advantage of those as well. So again, I'm going to go in here. I am going to use, which one do I want to use? I'm going to use this image here. Grilling some meat. Again, go through, do all the cropping. Here's a slideshow. Here's what I want it to look like. Banner crop. Let's go across. Square crop. Add that in here. Okay. I'm going to click save. Adds it onto the media library. Scroll down. Insert selected. So I have that image in there for my banner for right now. Title is "You Are What You Reach." I'm going to put no slide text. I just want the title in there. I'm going to add in an overlay. I'm going to add this block in there. Okay. So now I have my banner in there, and I want to add in some more stuff here. So I'm going to add in a block here in this section below it. So I'm going to add in a basic block this time. Basic block. Just title again. It could be whatever it is you want. Say, it's time to eat. I'm going to change my format here because I have a little bit more with the full HTML. But just note, when you start doing that, it's going to be, more likely you'll be able to kind of start breaking some stuff here. But you have a little bit more stuff to kind of play around here with. But because I want it center text, I want it to be, let's just say heading 2, for example. Format, I'm going to change it so it's a little bit bigger. Time to eat. And make sure it's bold. I'm going to actually take this one off. Whoops. How do I remove this? Just adding on. Okay, starting to see the problem with this. I apologize. It looks like this is kind of like a toggle, so I have to kind of go in and click off of that in case you guys notice that. So I'm going to add that block in here. You see, it shows right there. It's time to eat. I'm going to add in one more component here below this. So as you can see, it kind of just add things below each other. You can always reconfigure this however you want. So I'm going to create another custom block here. I'm going to use a card set. So a card set is actually something that's going to be very useful. I'm sure a lot of you are going to want to use it for landing pages, for your front page. So we're going to go ahead and create a card set. So what that's going to do is that it's going to create 3 cards side by side, or it could be 2, or it could be 4, however many columns you want. I'm going to make 3 here, for example. So the card type, you have the different kind of look and feel of how you want things to look. So for this one, I'm just going to have it be a basic card. The view mode, I'm going to have it be 3 columns here. And then I'm going to add in, so now that I know it's going to be 3 columns, going to put 3 cards in there. I'm going to add in those columns. So the title for this one, let's just call it, what did I have in the pizza? It's called the pizza. Add in the media. Again, going to choose my images here. Good pizza. And quickly just do my crops that I need to go through. For the cards, they are using either the card square type, the card crop type, or the square, depending on your style that you're using. So make sure that you have something that looks good either way. So all my cropping has now done. I'm going to go ahead and click save. Use this image. Link text. Say learn more. URL. Yes. Again, I'm just going to do Google right now. The body. I'm going to throw in some lorem ipsum in here. Again, using my cupcake ipsum. Boom. And then I'm going to want to add in 2 more cards here. So when I click on add card, it pulls up another one. So if I scroll up, I obviously see the ones that I already uploaded. The next one I'm going to do, I'm just going to call tacos. Add in media. Crop all these. Again, you're gonna have to find images. If I were trying to use this one as a banner, probably not the best banner image to use here. So you kind of play around with it, but at least you'll be able to kind of see if you were creating a banner, you will notice that, it's like, oh, this isn't going to work. Probably need to find a new image to use here. So just something to think about. Click save. Alex, so to answer your question, it says if I want to use the same image for a square crop, but I want it cropped to a different target on the image, would I have to re-upload the same image and recrop? Yes. I mean, you can make that if you're using that image and you kind of want it to focus on something different on the page. I mean, you can always just resize that square so it's a little bit smaller if you need to get just a certain corner of something, or make it, bigger. So there's ways to kind of play around with it. I don't think you will need to do a whole new image if it's the same image, but yeah, if you want to use something else, obviously just you upload the images that you need to do that. So I have that card type again. Just to note too, you don't have to just put a HTTPS kind of a full link in here. You can also search pages on the website. So for the resources, for example, if I wanted to link this to resources or a particular resource, I can do that. It pulls up all the pages that are on the website. And so I'm going to click on resources, which is that main page. So be careful what you name things, because if they're too close to each other, if one basic page is called resources, but then you name a resource, then it's going to be kind of hard to tell which one you're kind of linking off to. So link text, again, I'm going to do learn more here. Body, throw in that lorem ipsum, and add in one more card. So the last one, all this things. Good looking Sammy. Square crop. Again, Alex, if this answers your question, like I said, if I just wanted to focus on something, I can always do something like that. So maybe make the image look a little bit different. But you have the option to kind of play around with that cropping tool. So I am going to Casey, yes, if you wanted to add in, if you're linking off to a specific text file, either you can grab that link to that particular file, but you should be able to, I'm trying to remember if it's built in right now, that if you type in that file name, you might be able to link directly to that file itself. So just something to think about. I'm going to insert that. So that's the last one. Looks good. Oh, I forgot to throw in the last pieces here. Let's say it just goes to about us. And then link text, learn. And I'm going to add the block. I'm done. So as you can see here, now we kind of created those 3 cards. So you can kind of take a look at it, see how it's cropped, the way that it's viewed. This is just one type. You can always change out what you want it to look like. So if you have that one style and you're like, maybe I want to see what the other ones look like. If I go back to configure and I change that card type and I want it to be image action card, scroll down, click update. Now it changes what it looks like. So it's a little bit different than how it was before. But it allows us to kind of create those blocks. And then if you wanted to, again, change the amount of columns that you're using here, this one, obviously, because we're creating 3 columns is what work best. But if I wanted to create just those 2 columns, and hold on, I do want to change the card type. Let's go back to basic card, scroll down to the bottom, update it. Now it creates a 2-column look. So obviously, maybe I wanted to add in one more image in there to kind of make it so it's obviously more balanced. But as you can see here, you can take advantage of creating those cards and kind of creating how they look, what will look best for your website. So it's definitely things that you can play around with. So now that I've kind of got that in there, I'm going to change this actually back to 3 columns. Don't want to create a whole new card or anything like that. So I'm going to configure this back to 3 columns. Again, you can go up to 4. And as you add in, if you go past 4 cards, obviously it would just start to add things at the bottom. So if you wanted to create 8 cards, the best look of it probably would be the 4-column mode. So just going to update it. I'm going to go ahead and save it here. Save the layout at the top. So now I have this page. It's called You Are What You Eat. It's the food page. So it's time to eat. We're all getting hungry. I have the cards in here so I can learn a little bit more about tacos, learn more about pizza or sandwiches. So that leads on to our next task. So as you can see here, I added too many things. First thing I want you guys to know, when you add in kind of too many of those things into top navigation, it will kind of start to break it down where it adds in this menu system. We don't want because sometimes you'll have too many things on that main menu, and then it will start just kind of going below, and it kind of look like it's all jumbled on that top navigation. So if you start adding in too many things, you will notice that it kind of builds in this this button in here that you'll have fly out menu, and then people kind of select it from there. The way that mobile devices work these days, most people are on mobile devices. They're pretty used to this hamburger menu system here, so they'll understand that that's the menu. Click on it and make it better. But I'm going to redo the menu here. I'm going to, let's see here. Let's get rid of meetings and events right now. All I am doing is just disabling it. Okay. Once I disable those, obviously it goes back to the old way of looking at it because there's just enough in there where it doesn't throw it off. So, but to get back to the training itself, let's go to our next task. The last thing, we're going to be building landing pages here. So very similar to what we did before, you're going to have a little bit extra stuff to do. So I want the title to be your favorite restaurant that you like to eat at. You don't add a body in there when you create that basic page. Under the menu settings, make sure you do that parent item to be the food. You click save. On that landing page, I want you to create a slideshow with 2 slides. I want you to get rid of the title of the page. I want you to add a card set, 3 cards, and then you can do the basic, add in a basic block that adds in the description of the restaurant that you are featuring. So you can go ahead and get started. I know we're probably gonna go over time, so if anyone needs to leave, you go ahead and do that. But I'll give you about 10 minutes to kind of work on that page itself. Let me know if anybody has any questions. Yes, Rebecca.
Hi. I maybe a little more experienced, and I had written down some questions before the meeting, hoping that you'd be able to answer them for me. Is it okay if I ask them if they're a little bit more advanced?
Yeah, for sure. If you don't mind, I'm not sure if you have to leave like right at 1:30 or anything like that, but if you have some time, if we could do it right after
Oh,
everybody's done.
okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And just to note, we'll also have a little bit more of advance. We'll have a user group coming up next week where I want people to kind of just ask some of those questions. We'll kind of there's not going to be really agenda to it. We just want to see
Okay.
how things are going with the migrations, answer any questions.
What day of the week will that be?
Next Wednesday.
Okay.
And then in 2 weeks from now, we'll have a more advanced training kind of going over a little bit more capabilities of this platform. So right now, today was kind of going over the basics, trying to get used to playing around with the website and be able to kind of create some stuff.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions about this task? All right. All right. Let's get to working. Oh, if it's a bit choppy, I could go ahead and just stop it here. Because it's kind of just cutting in and out. I don't want to play it too loudly. I have about 4 more minutes here. Yes, Laura.
Hey, sorry. What's the difference between a section and a block?
So a section, and that's something we'll go over in the more advanced thing. So what that will do is that we'll create various regions to put those blocks in. So right now, those basic pages kind of have those default. I think there's about 3 regions. One of them has 2 columns. The other 2 are just single columns, but one's wider and the other one kind of it has those margins on the side. So when you add in a section, what that will do is that will allow you to put in however many columns you want in that particular region. So if you wanted to create something that was 3 columns, you'll be able to kind of do it that way. If you wanted 3 images side by side with each other, just something to kind of play around with. But those sections can get a little bit. They're a little bit more powerful. Some that want to kind of go over with people more in depth in that next training.
Thank you.
All right. Let's just wrap this up here now. So I'm going to go back over to our website. Okay, so taking a look at our website here, under food, looks like we have some places here already added on. So I'm going to click on Lucy's at the Orchard. I do love that place. However, I think they closed down. So
No, no, they did not, and I'm not done yet. So don't do me first.
yeah, I thought I heard that. I hadn't seen, but I do love that place. It's a great place to go.
I live right by there. They're happen.
All right, I'm gonna click on one just called Asian flavor here. All right. Doesn't quite have everything yet. They may still be working on it. Let's go to favorite restaurant. See Olive Garden. Somebody's favorite restaurant is the Olive Garden. All right, let's check something out. I'm assuming you guys are all still working on it. Do you guys still need more time on the slideshows and the cards and everything?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, you guys keep working on that. Let's see here. If anyone needs this slide again, let me know. As you guys are doing that, we want to wrap up some things here. So our next meeting is going to be February 16th, which is going to be then our next training. So it's going to be kind of building on this. We're going to learn a little bit more about the tools that are in the website. You kind of be able to really make those landing pages kind of pop, some things to kind of play around with, things to how you kind of use those sections and those blocks to your advantage to make things a little bit more interesting on your website, to make it look more that unique look and feel. We're also going to check in to see how things are going with your migration. But as you guys are trying to finish those things up, does anybody have any questions about any of this stuff that we've been learning today? Rebecca, I know you have some stuff that you wanted to ask.
I do have a couple questions, and some of them might be useful for people here too. Let me look through my list, unless anyone else wants to go first.
No, I think you're good.
Okay. I'm just looking at my list here. I did want to ask, like in the cards, if you're titling their links all the same, like learn more, is that going to cause accessibility issues? Is there anything built in to help with that?
There shouldn't be any problems with accessibility issues as long as those links are kind of as long as you have good links in there that are leading off those things, and you have the description of those things above, I mean, that's all considered in there. You shouldn't have any accessibility with everything being learn more. I know it's
Okay.
just it is kind of common practice for people
I
to
think,
put those.
yeah, you get flagged for if you have the same link tests that go to different links. I think that's one of the things that can come up in the checker if you're using the same words and the links are going to different places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll look more into that for you, and I'll give you probably a better answer.
Okay. And then I have a distribution, or I have a Drupal 9 already that I've been just familiarizing myself with, and I keep getting stuck in quick edit. And I didn't know if that was an issue that you guys have experienced before. Do you had any tips for fixing that? The only thing that seems to fix it for me is if I clear my cache. Because the sidebar with the menu goes away and it won't come back,
Yeah.
even when I try to leave the quick edit.
Yeah, so that is something we have ran into. It was kind of on our older version. I'll have to see what version you're on for our new platform, just to double check. I haven't noticed it in our new updated one. But yeah, I can definitely go over that with you. It is something that we have had trouble with in the past, where it goes into that quick edit mode. But yeah, so like you said, either refreshing the cache or to go and click out of that edit mode to begin with. So
Yeah, for some reason it won't actually leave it even if I'm no longer quick editing something. And I'm using Microsoft Edge so that I can clear my cache because I don't want to do it all the time if I'm in Google because I have things saved.
Mhm.
Um, and that's working fine for me doing it that way. I noticed earlier in the training when you were looking at the media that you had an audio file in there. Um, are you guys recommending that audio and video files get uploaded? Is there a player installed? Or
So for video, definitely not recommending that you do that. However, I'm sure there are always exceptions, and we want to kind of give that option for people. For video, we would definitely recommend uploading to YouTube and using
okay.
YouTube or Vimeo to kind of just embed into your website.
Mhm.
It's going to be more accessible. Um, it's going to
That's
be
what we
easier
do
to load.
now. I just wanted
Yeah.
to check for sure.
Yeah, and then other things, we don't have a good solution for at least for audio. I think for some cases that we're trying to solve here is that for it is by statute that when you do have to upload things for board meetings, you need to provide an
Mhm.
audio file for people to listen to
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
us.
So that we allow people just to upload it. Either you download it and play it onto your computer, or you can play it directly
Okay.
from the website itself. Just
Can you
whatever
play it
Drupal has built
directly
in.
from the website?
You when you click on it, I believe that it pulls like your browser technically what plays it, not necessarily
Okay.
Drupal, but yeah.
Okay. You can put them in a Google folder, a shared drive, because Google will play them.
Yeah. And that's
Uh,
even a better way to do it, to put
Okay.
those things in there.
Hey, Vincent.
Yes.
Just jumping real quick. Yeah, I mean, you can upload the audio files to the website, but we have I think it's 10 megabyte limit, so you have to compress it down to an MP3.
Okay.
But and the reason why we did that was it was a quick turnaround for legislation. We had to do this, but the
Mhm.
way you're doing it by putting it on Google Drive is probably the better solution.
Okay. Um, we have some files that we have on Google Drive, and I have concerns about them being um, so when you upload them to the website, Google is going to scan the website and I can't think of any words right now. Um, you're going to be able to find them if someone does a Google search. But I don't know that things that are stored in the Google Drive are getting are going to show up in searches. Does that make sense? I can't think of the right word.
Like the drive content's going to get indexed.
Yeah, index. So like you upload a PDF to the website, it's going to get indexed. So when people search for the name of that PDF, they'll be able to find it without necessarily having to go to the site. But when you have things in Google Drive, those aren't necessarily going to have that happen. And also the links aren't very nice. Um, so I'm not sure that they get indexed.
Not sure on. I mean, the drive content itself shouldn't be indexed, but again, if it's going to be linked to that document or the file,
Okay.
that should. So, I mean, at the very least, it should pull, you know, um, the title for the document.
Okay, so because it would be linked on the website, Google would be able to index it um, that way by the title, and hopefully people searching for it would be able to find it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it's like titled XYZ dash document, and that's what they're searching for,
Okay,
that title should pull.
okay, sounds good. I also wanted to ask, we reuse a lot of our FAQs. Will there, or have you guys been talking about having an option for searchable FAQs? I know that there's accordions to put in FAQs now, but we sometimes use the same questions in different parts of our website, and we have to recreate them manually. Is that something that maybe you would
Yeah.
talk about doing?
Yeah. So one thing I was kind of mentioning before is that you have the option, right? You can create it, the accordion, and have it be in one, have it be in one place. However, you can use that. You can create something that's called that's in the custom block library that you can then use on different pages. So let me ask you a question then first before I go on. These accordions, that FAQ accordion that you create, is it the same accordion you use on different pages, or are you asking like we use the
We
same
have different question, or we have questions that we use multiple places. So like we have applications, and then we have applications for licensure, and we have renew licensure, and some of the questions are the same that people are looking for, but then there's also additional ones. So instead of having two different accordions, because some of the questions are the same, having each question as its own node, and being able to like search them and then have them labeled with taxonomy, is that something?
That's something we don't have in the platform. I mean, things like that will either have to be developed to kind of
Okay.
work that way. It's one of those things that I think for the most case, most people are just kind of having that one FAQ page, and we have it, so it's just easier to create that way. But to have something a little bit more advanced like that, that's something that will need to be created.
Okay. And I mean, right now we have just the questions in both places, so it's not like we have anything better worked out. So I was just hoping that maybe at some point we could make it a little better for our visitors.
Okay.
And then I think the last question I had is that when you're logged in as an admin, you can see the spot where you'd put your SendGrid information. Since the state is moving away from SendGrid, is that going to be a different service moving forward?
Yeah, when we have more information regarding that, we'll let everybody know and what the solution is going to be. Obviously, whatever solution that we would go to if we're not a SendGrid anymore, we'll have a solution to kind of reconfigure those things, and you won't have to worry too much about doing that unless you're kind of, let's say you guys are running your own either SendGrid or whatever we move on to.
Well,
We
we
will
would
kind
like
of
to be on whatever
yeah.
the state is doing, so we don't have to worry about it so much. Is that something like with whatever choice you guys go with, is that something that we can get on with you guys, and does it cost anything?
Yeah. So whatever we are doing is that it's not going to cost anything. Whatever direction we go to, we'll have some kind of implementation to get that and we'll push it out to everybody's website, so you don't have to worry about it. But we'll be bringing everybody over. Yes.
Okay. Do you have an estimated time of when that might be ready? Like if I said we wanted to hopefully have our site done within 3 or 4 months, would that be ready by that time?
I'm not sure what the timeline is at the moment.
Okay.
I know the timeline is we have to move fast on it
Yeah.
on our end. But you probably know about as much information about it as we do right now.
Okay. Those are all my questions. Thank you so much oh, I have one more. And this might not actually be something that we need help with, but we have a custom PHP form that somebody before I started working here created on our Drupal 8 platform. I'm hoping to just move it into a regular web form and rebuild it. But if I have any trouble with it, is that something that you guys can help us with?
Yeah, that shouldn't be too much of an issue. As far as, I mean, you guys need help with just creating the web form, like
Well, if whatever the form is currently doesn't work with what we have for the web form in Drupal 9, will you be able to provide any assistance in helping us figure out how to get it onto the new site? Because I'm not really sure. I don't know why they didn't create it in a web form originally. I assume that there's a specific reason because we have other web forms, but for some reason they hand coded it with PHP. But I'm going to try to do it in the web form instead of having something custom like that. But I'm not sure if I'm going to run into any problems.
Yeah, so definitely, I would say first try to do it into the web form, and if you're having trouble with it, let's set up a meeting. We could discuss that a little bit more in detail to see if it's something that's going to be a little bit more that we need to do than just maybe just helping you out. But I mean, we're willing obviously to kind of help you out. If there's something that you might be missing that we can help out with, we'll do that. But if it's maybe a little bit more of a project, because again, I'm not exactly sure what the specifics are, but we could definitely take a look at it in a meeting to discuss it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem. Yeah, sometimes you'll see that with people. I think when with some websites that are passed on to you, they may have just been regular PHP developers. So when they get handed Drupal, instead of kind of learning the Drupal way, they'll just start throwing in their own PHP way because that's what they know, and then they'll make it fit that way before trying to make it work through the Drupal way.
Yeah, there's a lot of that with the old site. There's lots of things that don't work on their Drupal 8.
Yeah,
So
one
I'm
time.
glad that the Drupal 9 is getting ready to go.
Yeah. I remember one time I was handed off a Drupal 7 website that they just completely coded it in PHP and they didn't even use Drupal interface to be able to do it. I was like, why?
Yeah.
And they were just basic pages. There wasn't anything complicated about the website at all.
Why even use a content management system then?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
That's just all I had. So
All right. Alex.
Will we be able to manipulate the footer? Because if I don't want the block that says upcoming events and view the newsletter, if I don't want those, will we be able to delete those?
These ones, actually, sorry, I'm saying these ones like you guys can see my screen right now. Let me share. So the view events calendar and newsletter sign up, yeah, those are ones that we can get rid of. The only thing that has to stay consistent is this bottom block. So there's nothing really we can change too much about here. This is where we want to kind of keep things consistent. So yeah, but the events calendar and this newsletter sign up, those you can get rid of. We'll be able to get rid of those for you.
Okay, so that's on the footer, correct?
This one,
Yeah,
I think they're considered footer items. They're in if you have site admin, they're in the block layout. You can go ahead and remove those, but we definitely don't want to mess with anything that's down here though.
Okay,
Below those.
that sounds good. Thanks.
Any other questions?
I added a question in the chat.
Yeah. So we want to see to be added. Will we need to request that? I think for the Moncito stuff, I think it should be tracked when you guys do launch your website. But Will, if you want to speak more on that particular one, or if I'm not sure if Curtis has transferred all the information knowledge over to you yet. I think if you're talking, you're muted, or your mic's not working.
Yeah, my cord keeps getting slightly unplugged. No, I don't have anything specific to add, but if anybody has any questions, if I don't have the answer, I can get it for you pretty quickly. Just send me an email.
So Rebecca, but yeah, as far as I know, the when we do the launch, you will be added onto Moncito and it'll be tracking your website.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anything else for the remaining people that are here? All right. Sounds good. Thank everybody for sticking all the way to the end. That was a very long training, but if you have any additional questions about anything, please let me know. All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right, later.